A DJ's greatest value is to recontextualize music in real time, providing a fresh experience on familiar sounds. As a DJ, you have the attention of a large group of people. You can control their actions and their emotions. It's an adrenaline rush like nothing else to experience in the new paranormal. What is the best website to find information about a DJ? Waka 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 Wikipedia. My guest today is an up-and-coming DJ with an extraordinarily chilling will to entertain. Please welcome Justin Gonzales. Justin, how would you describe your musical style?
Emotional and floaty are generally the two adjectives I'd use to describe my style in general. I float between the classical and electronic worlds quite often, and those two adjectives kind of tie myself together to those two genres.
Some uneducated people consider DJs to be entry-level musicians because of one fact. They start from scratch. Justin, how did you get your start?
So my musical interest started at a formal level when I was in the 4th grade at about 9 years old. I've been listening to 80s music from my dad's cassette tapes in the back of our car when we immigrated here from the Philippines when I was about 5. But when I turned 9, the elementary school that I was attending was very fortunate to have like an instrumental music class when I was still there, and one of the instruments they offered was to learn the violin. And my mom forced me into it against my will, but I actually ended up liking it, so much so that I continued until middle school. And then I switched to saxophone in the 9th grade, and that's also around the time I got into DJing and electronic music as well.
That reminds me of my father. My father gave up his job of being a late-night radio DJ. He took up a new job as a railway construction worker. Talk about a career change, but I guess he just couldn't give up his love for laying tracks. Now, Justin, I'm aware that you perform sets on your Twitch for extremely long periods of time. How do you prepare for these long sets?
By keeping a tidy library. For these long sets, you really, or I personally don't know where I'm going to start, and I don't know where I'm going to end, and I don't know what's going to fill all that time, but it helps one to know the music I'm carrying into a performance. If you were to just stack it all together, I think I have about 15 days worth of music on this laptop. So knowing all of that, knowing kind of what it all sounds like, what texturally it all sounds like, structurally and music theory wise, what it all sounds like, that's really important. And number 2 is to just be able to really quickly improvise on the fly, and then kind of improvise for me in 30-minute chunks, an hour chunk, kind of plan out in my head, oh, I feel like I want to take the audience here for the next 30 minutes emotionally, or like I want to really hear like these really hard sounds for like the next hour and take them there. Yeah.
What do you call a plant that is a DJ? A photosynthesizer. What's the longest set you've ever played?
The longest that I've played is 24 hours.
Oh.
So, in all honesty, doing that, the first 12 hours were actually surprisingly easy. I had 2 friends with me just off screen who were acting as like my emotional and medical support, and they also commented like, first 12 hours felt like nothing. Justin, like, where did it go? The next 12 were so hard. Yeah, it felt like running a marathon.
How do you maintain stamina for a long set like that?
I knew I was going to start doing this 3 months prior, so I knew I was preparing musically. Physically was kind of the biggest part of it all. When I decided, hey, I'm going to start doing this, I started to do something I have neglected through the COVID-19 lockdown, which is exercise daily. So it started by 30 minutes a day walking, and then eventually 45 minutes a day walking, and 2 hours a day walking. And then I merged that into, oh, I'm going to stream on this certain day, DJing for 3 hours and then 4 hours. And then leading up to it, I did 6 and so on. And then mentally, it was just a matter of timing my circadian rhythm to be like, okay, prior to this 24-hour thing, I want to just sleep for as long as possible, wake up, and then roll the dice, quite frankly. Mentally, it was just kind of a guess as to how I'll let go. It sums it up quite well.
Impressive! How did your eating schedule work?
I did not have that like very, very well planned. I was in Los Angeles the night before this set. I drove up here to Northern California, to Berkeley, to be specific. I arrived here at about 11 p.m. Bought a really big like Philly cheesesteak sandwich, 9-incher. Ate half of that.
Yes.
And then went to bed, woke up, started playing the set, and then 3 hours in, I was like, I'm hungry. And like put on like a 7-minute song, went off camera, heated it up, came back, and like saw like 4 minutes remaining on that track, and was like, yay.
Did you have any marmalade during this 24-hour set? Because that's my jam! Please, continue.
The entire set was just like, I think at about like 12 or 1 o'clock, I told my friend, I'm like craving some Jollibee, which is a Filipino fast food chain that's popular here in California. And he was like, okay, got some for me. Later that night, my friend brought me like sushi, which I didn't ask for, but super cool. So I past that, I did not eat anything else on the stream.
Can I tell you a joke about dubstep? Never mind. I don't want to wub you the wrong way. What was the most memorable moment of your DJ career?
So for context, I'm still pretty small. The biggest audience I've played to is about like 80 people at a house party. But I'd have to say that's the most memorable gig I've had so far. This took place in Minneapolis, St. Paul area in July this year. My first gig, my first performance, like physically, with anyone else in the room coming out of this pandemic. That was very special.
What does a cop and a DJ have in common? They both tell drunk people to put their hands up. Justin, why do you love DJing?
DJing provides musical freedom that most genres of music don't. I played with a couple of like orchestral bands out in California, and the set list can't change depending on how the audience feels or how the performers feel at that given moment. Like a rock concert set list is kind of very rigid unless the front man or the front person for that group goes, okay, like hold on, like everyone, do y'all remember how to play this song, and they can pivot the set list. But generally a set list doesn't change. Like the music you hear is already like pre-programmed before you walk into a venue to listen to it. But for DJing, at least for long form DJs, like DJs who play over an hour or more, what you hear can turn with like really easily, depending on how other people in the room feel about the music, depending on how the DJ feels about the music. And another reason why I love it is because I'm pushed and pulled by other artists in my medium. I'm playing tracks from other artists, other artists are playing the tracks that I make. So there's definitely a shared culture of like, what do you listen to? I want to play that, or what did you just play? I want to play that later. Like let me get the title of the track. Yeah.
Ah, excellent, excellent, excellent. Justin, it's time for the lightning round. Go! Favorite movie?
I'm feeling Inside Out right now.
Weirdest request from a listener.
To throw my ass up.
Did you throw it?
I did.
Oh, how generous of you.
I think I was having a weird day and I was just like, this might as well just happen.
Windows or iOS?
Windows.
What is your favorite song that you never play?
I love all of Whitney Houston's work. Every part of her discography is pure gold. One track of hers in particular is so wildly good, it blows my mind as like someone who's just casual listener, someone who studies music right now, someone who hopes to like make a living off of performing and teaching music, and that is her rendition of the national anthem for the United States back from 1994. It would be so wildly out of place in any one of my DJ sets, but that performance is just like so raw. It's just the embodiment of Whitney Houston, just like have a vocal performance like so clean, yet like so wildly expressive and so emotionally charged. But the context of it, like I don't think I could drop the national anthem in a DJ set and have people take it seriously. Yeah, but that's a song that I love that I don't think I could ever play in a set.
Most embarrassing moment as a DJ?
I was 18. This was August 2018. And I accepted an offer to play at like this streets festival as their opening act. I pop up to this event with my car and like only my laptop, like the bare minimum wires I need to run my DJ equipment to my computer. I have no cables to run to the audio equipment. Like I damn near forgot something to run like a cable to my headphones. Like it was bad. Like I show up and I tell like the support staff who are like, one, unpaid, two, super tired because they already were on site for the last 5 hours trying to figure out, oh my gosh, how do we get all of this wired? They haven't been fed their one meal that they were promised for this event yet. So they're like grumpy. I get it. And me, like shy 18-year-old Asian dude comes up, like also like super stressed for other reasons. I pop up and I go, hi, you have like these XLR cables and quite possibly one 3.5 mil to and they're just looking at me like dead tired. I've never seen two other more tired people in my life. They had every right to say no because I was the one person out of everyone else who performed that day who was just completely unprepared, and they were like, come here, fine, like check this crate. And I feel the pressure. These two guys are just like staring at my shoulder, digging through these cables, wondering why this person who's supposedly good at music and good enough to be invited here just didn't have anything, like it did not have what it took to produce sound at this event. I get on to play, and the set goes great.
I would have been there to cheer you on, Justin.
And I get off. I take everything down. I pack up, and the two people who I annoyed for the last 2 hours before that were like, I was expecting that to be complete garbage. That was great. Congrats, dude. And they waved me off.
Thank you, Justin, for shooting the sheet with me today. My friends, I must ghost you for now. Until next time, goodbye.